With companies like Asus, Gigabyte and MSI all entering the monitor game over the last few years, the one player left without a weapon is ASRock, until now. Meet the PG27FF1A, or as I like to call her, Peggy. Peggy is a flat 27-inch 165Hz 1080p IPS monitor that boasts an impressive 1 millisecond MPRT for reduced motion blur and Freesync Premium to combat tearing. Which, okay, you've got my attention. This looks to be a competitive gaming monitor ticking a lot of boxes for those who want to level up their gaming experience. And at $189 with a 2-year warranty, it looks to be price competitive too. So today, we're going to take a deep first look at what Peggy does well and what she does not so well, and find out if ASRock's first attempt into the monitor game is locked and loaded, or just firing blanks. Let's find out. So before we take a look at the actual display itself, let's cover the usability and design. You get the monitor out of the box and fully assembled by clicking in the neck of the stand and screwing in the base. No tools required. And you also get a power, HDMI and DisplayPort cable. But now that we have her all set up, we need to check out the design and physical features. Peggy is a 27-inch monitor that uses a flat panel and comes in at 24 inches wide, and just over 14 inches tall without the base. But even with the base attached, the height isn't increased much at all, which is my first issue. The included wobble stand has the cable management cutout, which is great, but doesn't offer any height or rotation adjustment, unlike many others. However, also unlike many others, it does allow you to pivot, and there's also the typical tilt adjustment too. But because of the lack of height adjustment, unless you use your computer like a complete dumbass, I would highly recommend a cheap monitor stand, or better yet, a VESA 100 compatible monitor arm, which I will have linked below for you unless you want to look like a gaming goose for the rest of your life. But around the back of the monitor, you'll find your power input, volume, and on-screen display navigation buttons that allow you to adjust plenty of settings, including overdrive, MPRT, and FreeSync. More on those in a bit. This style of navigation is no better or worse than any button-based implementation. So although joystick is absolutely preferred, it's something you'll clumsily thumb your way through likely only once, and never use it again. So no big deal. And taking a look where the sun don't shine, we don't see any USB ports unfortunately, but we do have a 3.5mm audio out, one DisplayPort 1.2, and 2 HDMI 2.0 ports. Although not the latest revisions, they're all fully capable of maxing out the 1080p 165Hz panel inside this monitor. And as they're all facing down, this allows you to get really close to your wall with ample room to cable manage them properly. But the thing that I would have liked to have seen facing down is that power indicator LED, which would really clean up the otherwise sleek design aesthetic. And maybe also black out the Phantom Gaming logo while you're at it. But these are personal preferences. Oh, and the speakers are rear mounted facing up. They'll do in a pinch, but if you have any kind of self-respect, at least get these speakers from Creative. They are by far the best bang for the buck. But what about the actual display itself? What is it like to game on it? Let's take a look at that now. With Peggy being an IPS panel, the colours are strong, rated at 94% DCI-P3 and 123% sRGB, with excellent viewing angles, up to 178 degrees, and a contrast ratio of 1100 to 1. The monitor has a decent anti-glare coating that allows for better light diffusion, which is a must when the display is going to be angled up towards your ceiling lights whilst gooseneck gaming. But Peggy isn't the brightest bulb in the box, at least on paper. She's rated for 250 nits typical brightness, but does seem significantly brighter to my eyes when in the preset modes or with overdrive enabled. But turning on the MPRT setting that provides backlight strobing for increased responsiveness, 1 millisecond advertised, this does dim the display dramatically, which is probably where the advertised 250 nits comes from. However, in my opinion, neither are really enough to satisfy a decent HDR experience. And like many other monitors' HDR implementation, it's more catered to supporting it, rather than actually implementing it. But that's not really the point of this monitor. The point is high refresh competitive gaming. It has the vibrancy of an IPS, variable refresh between 48 and 165 Hz with FreeSync Premium, and maxed out at 165 Hz is considered a mid-range high refresh monitor that delivers exactly that. And although it is worth mentioning that this is a pre-release sample directly from ASRock, so take it for what you will, but flaws were pretty much exceptional, running the EZO monitor test. Although to my eyes, uniformity on grey was a little bit off towards the edges, but in the scheme of things, that is an excellent result. Plus, if you're still rocking a basic monitor, you're going to be blown away by the smoothness and perceived responsiveness of a monitor like this. But At this point, what I'm going to do is recommend from here to keep a close eye on this monitor, and I'm going to do the only honest thing I can. I recommend you see if RTings or the Hardware Unboxed YouTube channel has covered it, as they do an excellent job for in-depth monitor testing, which is beyond the equipment that I have in my studio. Making this a first look at Peggy the PG27FF1A from ASRock, for which I am quite impressed. And an excellent pairing to something like a $1,000 PC build, or my small form factor gaming PC. And both of those videos are going to be linked on the left right there if you want to check those out. And remember guys, subscribe, share, like, they are always appreciated, and I hope you have an amazing day.